Cody Rhodes might genuinely ruin his career if he beats Kevin Owens. Did WWE accidentally reveal who's gonna win the Women's Royal Rumble? And has The Rock been playing with us this whole time? My name is Daniel Wrestling and welcome to my weekly SmackDown recap, where we discuss all the storylines and theories from each week's episode. So we open the show with Rey declaring himself for the Royal Rumble. And let me just say, this year's Rumble is going to be so stacked. I know they're just using big names for the hype, but honestly, it's working. Just as Rey was yapping on, Kevin Owens wanted to get something off his chest. He came out and told Rey how much of an inspiration he was for him, and that he'd love if he won the Rumble. He said that if he did win the Rumble and chose to face Kevin Owens for the WWE title at WrestleMania, it would be a dream match for him. As per usual, that deadbeat dad killed the mood. Standing in front of him was a lifelong Rey Mysterio fan, wishing him luck in one of the most dangerous matches on the WWE calendar. But what did Rey respond with? He called Kevin delusional, saying that he's not a champion. But Rey, if he wasn't a champion, then why would he have a belt? Jeez, you'd think he's been around long enough to know that, right? Anyway, KO respectfully beats up the deadbeat dad for comparing him to Drew McIntyre and the GOAT, Dominic Mysterio, which yet again gives us a tease at a potential faction between KO and Drew McIntyre. This was a theory being thrown around not so long ago, and honestly, it feels like WWE might go in that direction. You see, Kevin Owens and Drew McIntyre have recently seen the light through some Bloodline PTSD. They've both had their careers stunted by the unfair group of gorillas. Someone who was also being rumored for this faction was Seth Rollins, but I think now that he's busy with Punk, we can kind of rule that one out. But with Rey dropping Dom's name, it might be a hint at the fact that after being abused by two different women, he's had enough and might want to join this hypothetical faction. Later on in the show, we saw Cody Rhodes, who announced he's actually finally medically fit. Nick Aldis then asked him if he could sign a change in the contract for his match with Kevin Owens at the Royal Rumble, but in typical Cody fashion, he pussied out. Nick also tried to get Kevin to sign it, but he was too busy getting ready for his dream match with Rey Mysterio, and he didn't need any contract talk distracting him. So what does Nick do? He calls in the big guns, letting us know that there will be a contract signing at Saturday Night Main Event next Saturday. But that's not all. It will be overseen by the legend HBK. You guys already know this, but Shawn Michaels is literally the coolest guy ever, and I can't wait to see Cody get some sweet chin music. If you don't subscribe, I personally promise to sweet chin music your mother. I will do it. I will. After KO beats Rey, he decides to send him a message, setting him up for the package piledriver. But unfortunately, Cody decides to ruin the fun. Okay, I don't know about you guys, but all biases aside, I genuinely think Kevin really needs to win this match at the Rumble. Not only because of the amazing work he's been putting in, but also because Cody Rhodes' time as champion has just been mediocre. He's just been too predictable, even if it's just for a month. In my opinion, letting Cody Rhodes face a tough challenge is where he does his best work. Hence why him finishing the story was such a strong movement throughout the fans. Hell, even I wanted him to finish the story. So by letting KO, who's deserved the title at this point, take the title and instill some doubt in Cody, I guarantee you this would create some of the best back and forth between these two. Like, it would just be, it would just be insane. But do you guys agree? Let me know in the comments. Someone who's also insane is Tiffany Stratton. Honestly, guys, this girl is just so damn good. In the ring, on the mic, it's like she's been doing it for decades. We saw her face Bayley in the main event of SmackDown, and honestly, I can admit, I'm not usually the biggest fan of Bayley in the ring, but this match was awesome, especially the finish. So shout out to the two of them, and also the subscribe button. It hasn't had many clicks, so please, click it. But what the really interesting thing about all this is what happened before the match. We got to see a video package for Charlotte Flair's return, which in my opinion basically guarantees she's gonna win the Rumble. And maybe I'm just a bit biased or delusional or something, because I am all here for Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania. I think the two would combine to such an epic rivalry in the ring and out of the ring. Though there's something that's continuing to disappoint me, and that's the lack of hype for the Women's Rumble match. Now, I don't like to compare the men and the women in the WWE because it's not really the same thing, but there's been zero build-up from one of the biggest matches on the WWE calendar, and it feels like Survivor Series War Games all over again. But again, maybe I'm missing something. Definitely the most interesting part of the night is what happened with Solo Sikoa and the Bloodline, and maybe The Rock. You see, in a match between Jimmy Uso and Carmelo Hayes, Which, side note, Carmelo Hayes has been insane recently. His promos, his in-ring work, he's definitely coming for a title soon. Plus, him calling Jimmy Unk had to hurt. Anyway, just as Jimmy had this match won, Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga came out and attacked him, while also finishing Carmelo Hayes. Their then quote-unquote tribal chief Solo Sikoa came out to the ring, which was his return after losing the Ula Fala on Raw last week. But everyone was shocked when Solo said absolutely nothing. Instead, he listened to the boos and dropped the mic and walked off. And when I say everyone was shocked, I literally mean everyone. Even Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga were visibly confused. So what does this mean for the Bloodline? Is Jacob now in charge now that Solo looks more like a pussy than Cody Rhodes? Or is this an opening for The Rock to take charge? We'll get to that in a minute, but first we need to talk about Jacob Fatu versus Braun Strowman. Yes, if you don't remember, the Bloodline put Braun Strowman out of action for a few weeks, and now he's back to get his revenge with his sights set on the Samoan werewolf. They faced off in the ring after Jacob hit a serious promo. Seriously, which if you haven't seen, guys, you need to check this out. You know, like the subscribe button. Anyway, he talks about how no one's been able to stop him. So obviously, like last week, LA Knight tries again and fails again until he gets a bit of help from Braun Strowman. And just when we finally thought we might see the biggest SOB versus the werewolf, Tama pulls Jacob out of the ring. But now this Saturday night main event card is stacked. Not only are we going to see the Ute Man beat Gunther for the heavyweight title, we also have Braun Breaker versus Sheamus, and now Jacob Fatu versus Braun Strowman, along with a crazy contract signing with Cody and KO. All that with the build up to the Rumble. Next week is gonna be crazy. But what's most crazy is, well, me. Or, well, that's how the WWE has me feeling. If you guys haven't seen, I posted my first ever video on this channel about The Rock retiring. In this video, I talk about a theory how WWE doesn't want us to think that The Rock's going to be involved with this year's WrestleMania. But now I'm nearly sure The Rock will be involved, even sooner than you think. You see, not only did Michael Cole talk about how the last time the WWE was in San Diego was on Raw Day 1, where The Rock came to the ring, beat up Jinder Mahal, and asked if he should sit at the head of the table, referencing the Bloodline. But we also got a video package for WrestleMania, and The Rock's in it. Now yes, he could just be making an appearance, but I'm delusional, and I want to see him take over Solo's Bloodline group. You see, Tama and Jacob were very confused when Solo said nothing, dropped the mic, and left the ring, almost as if they weren't expecting it. This randomness isn't something we've seen from this Bloodline, and maybe now without the Ula Fala and his confidence down, they don't see Sikoa as their leader. Think about it. Jacob didn't even say, yes, I can see Jacob taking up the mantle and becoming the leader, but for a second, just imagine how good the final boss would be with this pack of killers. Think about how brutal The Rock was last year against Cody, and think about how brutal this Bloodline group has been. It's literally a match made in heaven, but I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. So what do you guys think? Am I delusional, or do you agree? Let me know down below.